What's up, and welcome to Week 8 Panic Room. There's Tony.
Plugging in my stuff here.
Alrighty. Well, we've got you on now, so we are good to go.
I figured out
see
my
you guys.
lighting issue too. I just had to
Yeah.
switch color schemes on the website, so we're good. We're good.
Yeah, we're good. We are ready to go now. Taking
Should have
these.
thought of that to begin with.
Yeah, we're gonna roll through Week 8 here. We'll go kind of game by game and talk about who to panic on and who not to panic on. Actually, more of just who to panic on.
Yeah.
Alrighty, guys. Let's go ahead and get started really quick. Waste no time. And
I'm good with
let's first talk about the Thursday night game with the Cardinals and the Packers. Boy, that game did not go as I expected it to go. Any players that got you worried in either of those teams, Packers or Cardinals?
that. Not really. I'm trying to think. Maybe DeAndre Hopkins with that hamstring.
It got you a little worried, but not I mean, everyone's
I'm
had
not
injuries. That's not
like-
panicking.
I'm not panicking, but I'm concerned because those hamstrings are tricky. But as far as panicking, I don't think I'm really panicked on anybody in either of these games.
No, I
or
don't.
these teams. I mean, sorry.
What about you, Tony?
You know, I haven't read anything on Hopkins where that hamstring is anything to be real concerned about. The guy who is, I guess, a little bit concerning, I don't want to say panic, but Chase Edmonds.
Mm-hmm.
Connor just seems to constantly be siphoning touchdowns off this guy.
Yeah, he does.
And while Edmonds appears to be the better of the two running backs out on the field, his value is just constantly taking a hit.
Yeah.
With Connor. Again, Connor 2 touchdowns. I mean, Edmonds fortunately going to get that one. But yeah, so again, not panicked on Edmonds, but it'd be nice if Connor would go away.
Yeah.
For those of you guys who own, I don't have any stock in Edmonds this year, but for those of you who do, it's got to be frustrating.
Yeah, I stayed away from it because of Connor.
For this exact reason. Yeah, I avoided it as well.
Just the same way I avoided Jacobs. I know it's a whole different team, but I avoided Jacobs because of Kenyon Drake. It just, any of those situations, I just avoided them so I didn't have to deal with it down the line. So
yeah. No, and I think, look, Aaron Jones, I mean, he was one of our buy low candidates last week on Wall Street. He had a monster game. They stole that one touchdown from him. It looked like he scored. But I just don't see a Dillon being any type of real threat. Even though Dillon had 16 carries in this game, Aaron Jones still touched the ball 22 times. So 7 catches. He had 15 carries. I don't care what Dillon did. If Aaron Jones is touching the ball 22 times a game, you're gonna be just fine with him.
Yep, 100%. That's some good opportunity there. Yeah, I guess I'm panic on Robert Tonyan. That's bad. That's bad.
Tonyan, yeah, right. I'm not even going to comment about the game because he's finished for the year. I feel bad for the guy.
Yeah, it sucks. That sucks pretty hard. All right, cool. Let's just move on to our next one then, the Panthers and the Falcons. I'll start out with the obvious. Are we worried about Calvin Ridley? It's a redraft league. Of course, we're not in Dynasty, but redraft league, what are we thinking?
Yeah, I think you have to be concerned about him. I think you have to be concerned about him in Dynasty too, because it's such an unknown, this mental health disease that he's dealing with. I mean, we'd all like to think he's going to be okay and come back. I have stock in him in redraft, so I'm hoping to get him back this year. But stuff is it's fantasy football. It's make believe. Yep. So at the end of the day, I think ultimately we all want what's best for Calvin. We want him to be healthy.
It's make believe
mentally, and it's make believe. So it's close to the real thing as we're going to get, I guess. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I don't want to. I feel bad because I don't want to kind of say anything about my fantasy team. In the meantime, this guy's struggling with this type of mental illness. So I want him to be healthy. But what to expect from him this year, who knows?
Yep.
I don't even know if
Yeah.
Calvin Ridley knows.
Yeah, I've heard, I heard it actually earlier today. Smitty from Fantasy Football Show, he said it pretty nice. He was like, "Hey guys, I know you've got questions and everything. I mean, prayers up to him, no doubt about it. But fantasy football is also a business, and so we have to discuss it. It's out of no
Sure.
disrespect. It's just something we have to think about and deal with now. So, yeah, definitely best wishes for Ridley. I haven't seen anyone mad at him or saying anything negative, but of course it's something we have to deal with. I have to deal with it on a couple of teams, and so it needs to be discussed, and it's not disrespectful to discuss it, I don't think. So.
No, I'm not suggesting that at all. But
Yeah,
you
yeah,
do
yeah, I
see
know,
some of these blogs where guys really do get on players when they get injured.
Mhm.
And and so I want to make sure that I'm very clear that I'm not on that side at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree with you. I think if we don't know what to expect with Ridley. If you got him, you're holding him. You're not going to drop him because he could come back in a week or 2 weeks, and you just can't risk. If he comes back, the target share was there. He's going to be elite,
and he'll probably be in a better mental state if he comes back. I mean, I would think he comes back better. So
yeah,
Well,
I hope so too.
He said in his statement, his mental well-being, that could be anything from depression to stress to family issues it's impossible to speculate what that entails exactly too. So, yeah, it could be anywhere from a week to the rest of the season to never coming back. You just never know. So,
yeah. Honestly, though, good for him for taking care of himself first. I mean, honestly, that's gutsy.
It's hard to do when a high pressure job like he has. His team's dependent on him. Fans want to see him play and stuff. So, not everybody has the courage to step away and do what they got to do for themselves. So,
totally.
Yeah, good for him. Hope everything turns out okay for sure.
Totally. Gonna jump over here really quick because we already passed the game, but Jonathan said, I'm not panicked, but you could put me in the pout room for Murray and Cards D. Tough start to the week for me. Yeah, definitely. Jonathan, just to let you know, starting next week after Panic Room, we're going to have a Safe Place, and that's going to be a show to come on with 7 o'clock from Sloppy Sundays and what's his other show?
I can't remember who he's going to have on there with.
He's going to have special guests every week.
So
he'll have different people on there.
Cast,
and that'll be a place to just go and just kind of pout, drink some wine, pout, hang out. So anyway, shout out to that new show that's coming out starting next week. Right after this.
Perfect word for that segue.
Yeah, exactly. So and then I see you other guys. We'll get to the chat once we make it through all these games. All right, Carolina Panthers, Atlanta Falcons. We're still on that one. Any more Falcons that you're worried about? I know that Kyle Pitts had a down week. I'm not worried about him. That's just that offense. No. That entire offense had a down week. So,
well, a couple things on Pitts. Well, actually, 3 things on Pitts. Number one, Pitts was really covered by Gilmore, who's a shutdown corner. It's the number 1 corner there in Carolina. Who would have been on Ridley had Ridley played, but they locked him up with Pitts. They also bracketed Pitts. They double teamed him. I think they really came into this game with the plan to remove him from that passing game. And then Pitts, I think I read in a couple places, had made some mental errors, dropped some balls. And so on the season, you're not worried about Pitts. The targets are going to be there. I think for me, the bigger question is, what do we make of Russell Gage? Because I'm one of the guys that, because I had Ridley, I rushed over to the waiver wires right away, and I needed a replacement for Ridley, and so Gage made the most sense. Last year, when Ridley and Julio missed some games, I think there were 3 games last year, and Gage went off. 10 catches, 12 catches, massive yardage output. So I was kind of expecting the same thing this week with him as that number 2, now the number 1 receiver in Atlanta. And I do want to say I'm not panicked on Russell Gage. I'm still going to roll with him again this week. I think with a full week of prep, I think this guy's going to slide right into that number 1 role in this passing offense.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, there was some people thought Zacchaeus would have a decent. Tony's always hitting us with hard facts, people. If
speaking of 7 o'clock in Safe Place, there you go. There's 7 o'clock coming in this week.
Tony's always hitting us with the hard facts. If you want to see him really in his element, come back on Wall Street Wednesday.
No joke.
But
man, all kinds of plugs. Look at us go.
I'll drop this on you. Russell Gage, he ran he played the greatest number of snaps on Sunday and ran the most routes. He just didn't get the targets.
Yep.
So he had 36 snaps, 21 routes, and unfortunately wasn't targeted. That's just the way I think the game script worked out, and the game itself developed. But I'm not worried about Russell Gage.
Good call on that. How about going to the Carolina Panthers?
Panic on all of them.
Are you panicked on DJ Moore, or are you? Here, let's start with what makes that offense go, and that's CMC, right? I saw today where coach came out and said, he may not play week 9, week 10. How long does this keep getting drawn out? Because it seems that's what makes that offense going. Without him, they're just not working the same as they were early in the season.
That's not true. When CMC went out, I think was it week 1? He went down. They had 2 full games without CMC.
I think so.
Oh wow!
DJ Moore had 2 of his. He had his best game week 4 without CMC. So, I hear what you're saying. The problem in that offense though is not CMC not being there. It's the play of Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold he's fallen off a cliff. He's regressed significantly. He came out this Sunday with a concussion.
Oh no, it was week 3.
Week 3 with McCaffrey.
Okay, so week 3. Sorry. So week 4 though, the following week, I think was DJ Moore's greatest week fantasy wise. Am I right about that?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, and that was without CMC. So that's my point. Is I don't know how much of this is on CMC. I think it's all on Sam Darnold's shoulders. And
yes, you are correct on that. I just checked.
It was against Dallas.
Weeks 2, 3, and 4. New Orleans, Houston, Dallas are his 3 best games of the year.
Yeah, and so week 3 he was hurt, and so he still went on to put up some strong fantasy numbers. Week 4, his greatest fantasy week in the season. My point is it's all about Sam Darnold.
Yeah,
unless Sam Darnold can improve his gameplay, and I think we've seen that. We talked about this with Seven on Friday on Saturday Fantasy Night Live, actually with Jeff, because Jeff was in this week. Just how the poor quarterback play really limits the ceiling of a lot of these receivers. A-Rob is another example.
Mm-hmm.
And so I am panicked on DJ Moore. I think it's probably a good buy low opportunity, but you've got to get him really cheap. I'm not going to pay DJ Moore price to get him.
Yeah.
Right.
Would you trade like a Chris Carson, Alex Collins combo probably to get DJ Moore, just a hurt player with kind of a mediocre backup there, I feel like that might be fair value there, something like that.
I might do that especially if I need a receiver.
Yeah, but you're not trading like earlier in the year, it might be a little bit higher running back trade or something, higher. But like a Joe Mixon or something like that, you're not doing that anymore for sure, guys.
Yeah, no.
Yep.
I mean, early in the season, he was a top 5 receiver.
Yep. And he looked like it at the beginning of the year too. So,
yeah. And then Darnold hit a wall and can't get the ball. You just see all day on Fantasy Cast when I'm covering these games, just Darnold incomplete to DJ Moore. Darnold incomplete to DJ Moore. PJ Walker incomplete to DJ Moore. Like random fan from row 1 incomplete to DJ Moore. So it's very unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
I'll give you another player too, very similar to that, who has had some good weeks here lately, and that's Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin is an elite receiver, could be, top 5, one of the best in the league. If he had decent quarterback play, Heineke really limits his ceiling.
Yeah, really does. And I'm not sure when Fitzpatrick is due back, but I think soon, right? I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, me neither.
So
at all.
Alrighty, anyone else from the Panthers?
Robbie Anderson's not playable.
Nah, we covered him in the past.
Robbie Anderson remains droppable. He's been droppable for me all year.
Yep. All right, next is the Dolphins and the Bills. I know Emmanuel Sanders had a bad week. Not worried about Emmanuel Sanders. That was just a bad week there. Gabriel Davis somehow had a good game. Okay. So I'm not worried about that, though. Do what?
Because he had a touchdown.
Yeah, but he had a lot of receptions in there.
4 catches for 29 yards. It's not a great day without the touchdown.
It just popped up more than Emmanuel Sanders.
But
that's all I know. So that's a good day for him.
the thing about Emmanuel Sanders, he didn't have any catches, but he still had 4 targets. So he's still involved. It was just an unlucky day, I feel like.
Yeah.
Beasley and Moss both, they were very focused on the short to intermediate game. And those two are the ones that benefited this week. They struggled the first half a lot. I mean, they went in halftime tied at 3.
Yeah, it was wild.
So,
did not see that coming.
Yeah.
What do you guys make of Diggs? I mean, Diggs has not, and I know Kyle has stock in Diggs, but he's just not produced elite fantasy numbers this year, kind of as what we expected going into the season. Are we, I don't want to say panicked on Diggs, because obviously he's still a guy you're not going to bench Diggs. But can we expect him to get back into those elite, kind of those elite tiers in fantasy this year, or do we think that Beasley and Sanders, and I know Knox is out, but Knox will come back here in the next week or two? Is that affecting Diggs' value?
I think it might be. They've crawled into this situation now where they have so many mouths to feed. Knox is very involved this year, whereas he hasn't been in the past. They went and signed Sanders, where it was just Diggs and Beasley last year. So Diggs was just eating up the targets, eating up the catches, the touchdowns, everything. And I mean, even Beasley didn't do great last year. He was so laser focused on Diggs last year. Like, he was okay. Beasley was okay, but he wasn't doing what he's doing better this year, I think. And their running game was even worse last year too. So I think having more targets and maybe trying to run the ball a little bit more and stuff, I think it has affected Diggs. He's still an elite talent. He'll still have really big, really good games, but they're not going to be as consistent probably as they were last year.
Yeah, that's definitely what we're seeing.
Yep.
And it's unlucky. It's unlucky for anybody like me who has him in a dynasty expecting top 5 numbers. You're going to get top 10 instead probably, but he's still up there.
On Miami's side, if you're a Waddle owner, and we've seen Waddle have some decent weeks here, I'm not panicked on Waddle. He still had a strong target share, 12 targets yesterday. Parker is back healthy, and I was a little bit of concern as far as how Parker might impact Waddle's value. But
12 targets, man.
Didn't hurt him at all. If anything, it hurt Gesicki, because Gesicki only had 4 targets yesterday.
4 targets, yeah.
Which was kind of what I was talking about with you Saturday night, I believe.
Yeah. Yep. No, definitely. You made a great point. And so I think that might be more of an indication of what we're going to see moving forward. It's kind of what we expected going into the season. I wasn't real big on Gesicki. He's just been one of the beneficiaries of that wide receiver room not being able to stay healthy between Parker and Preston Williams. But now that Parker's back, we'll see. Parker does have a hard time staying on the field.
Yeah, he does.
I know he's going to be a high priority on many waivers, but just know that when you get Parker, he might not be a guy that you can depend on rest of the season.
Yeah. Yeah. Which you feel bad for the Dolphins having him and Fuller. Neither one can ever stay healthy.
Yeah, that's a good wide receiving core if they can ever get them all out there.
They get them all on the field.
I mean, that's a dangerous. Yeah, that's a dangerous.
I think you're
setup.
still, even against the Bills, like, I think you're, if anything, encouraged a little bit by Gaskin's usage. Even
Gaskin's going to be fine.
Even against the Bills, still got 12 carries and 3 catches on 4 targets. I think he's starting to see a more consistent touch count in that offense now with Malcolm Brown gone. So hopefully that continues as well. But not a panic situation. I just want to mention that because he's people are curious, what do we do with Gaskin? So just want to touch on that.
You're going to hold Gaskin with Malcolm Brown on IR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, the thing you have to realize about this game yesterday is they're playing the Buffalo Bill defense.
Yeah.
So, Buffalo's been real tough against the run. And I wouldn't be panicked about Gaskin. Gaskin's not an RB1, but if you look him at a low end RB2, RB3 with upside, Gaskin's your guy, and he could kind of develop a stronger role as the season moves on.
Yeah,
especially with Malcolm Brown out of the picture. What's that?
I said the better he does, the more work he'll get. But it does seem like they're committing to him a little bit more now with Brown out. So
sure.
Just wanted to touch on that briefly. Thought that was interesting.
Cool. Just letting people in the chat know we will get to your chats after we make it through all the games here. So we'll get to your chats here in just a little bit. Guys, let's roll through these games a little bit quick so we can get to those. Let's go to the Niners and Bears. Been panicked on Allen Robinson. That has held up. Still an unproductive week. I guess my main question is, and I know he's out right now, but David Montgomery, with Herbert playing so well, is that worrying us a little bit on Montgomery's value?
I think it'll take a little bit of a hit. It's kind of like the whole Dearness Johnson and Cleveland situation. Like, he's doing too well to not be involved at all when he comes back. And Montgomery's had issues staying on the field also. So taking less hits for him isn't going to be a bad thing either. So I think we could see them sharing the workload a bit. I don't know what that split looks like. If it's, 70-30 or 60-40, I don't think it'll be quite that drastic. Montgomery's still their guy. But, 80-20, get Herbert a couple catches a game. I could see that.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a real role as Montgomery works back from injury. I don't think Herbert's going anywhere. I definitely think this is going to hurt Montgomery's value. This kid Herbert is a talented guy. They got to find ways to get him on the field, kind of get him incorporated with these game plans. He has had a very, very strong volume usage. He's, again, yesterday he had 23. I'm looking now, 23 carries, 2 receptions, so 25 touches. That isn't going away. So how it's going to work out when Montgomery comes back between him and Montgomery and Damian Williams, we could look at it we could be looking at what's going to be a full-blown committee. Yeah. And so if I have Montgomery, I am definitely nervous as he works back from his injury.
It's going to be a better version of Houston.
Yeah, I see that.
Honestly, there's 3 guys in there trying to get carries.
Yeah, I think it's very similar. You say Houston, but even like a like a Baltimore Ravens situation. It's like you've got so many running backs in that running back room. You don't really give anyone an opportunity to emerge with a strong, strong number of touches. So it could be week to week. They could play the hot hand. Who knows? But I am concerned about Montgomery with Khalil playing so well.
Yep. As I think we probably should.
And we're not touching the receivers. I know Mooney had a decent game, 6 for 64, 9 targets. I think that's more an anomaly. I don't know that that's going to be a trend because Fields, although he looked great yesterday without Nagy, Fields.
I was thinking the same thing without Nagy. Because I almost made a video before on Instagram that was like, hey, guys, if you're ever going to play anyone on the Bears offense, today is the day to do it. Nagy is out. So get them in your lineups. They'll do better. But that still would have been bad advice. But it was fun.
I think a frustrating point for some people that had Cole Kmet in with maybe Andrews or Waller on a bye, and then Jesse James gets the touchdown and more yardage than Kmet on the same amount of catches. That would be frustrating.
Absolutely. Anyone on the Niners that we're concerned about of what's left of the Niners?
I'm not concerned about anybody there. I will say that it was nice to see Ayuk showing some life. And do we see him now reemerging in this passing game? And I don't think that's going to in any way knock Debo, but we might kind of the flip side of the panic. We might say, hey, this might be an opportunity to buy or get Ayuk on your squad and see what develops here. And I think Debo's banged up a little bit, so.
Yeah, he's dealing with a calf injury apparently. Don't know to what extent, but makes me a little nervous.
Well, plus Eli Mitchell, I think, has a rib issue. I think it was ribs.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to threaten his.
I don't think so either.
Sunday seems to be a minor concern.
As far as we know, things can sneak up on you that last hour, though.
Sure,
definitely can. Aaron, when they come out with their anti-cheat in the next game, we'll jump on some Warzone. Me and Kyle do play Warzone, but I guess on the new map or whatever. So when they come out with that anti-cheat so that we can actually have some fun with it, then yes. Alrighty, guys. Let's head to the next game, the Steelers and the Browns. Tony, you got anyone in these games?
Well, it's interesting because somebody here, Jai, just put up, Mixon or Chubb rest of the season. I know we're going to hold the question.
No, that's fine. Go for it.
But Chubb to me is the concern.
Yep, Chubb's on my list too.
Without Kareem Hunt and without Dearness Johnson getting too involved with this offense yesterday, Chubb is really becoming, and I think we've really seen it now develop over the course of the season, but he is now very much touchdown dependent. Now, he's been good for over 100 yards, and I think we can, depending on the matchup, count on him to get a strong number of carries and, hopefully, go over 100 yards. But he isn't being utilized at all in the passing game, and that really hurts him in PPR. And if they're not going to utilize him with Kareem Hunt out, it's just very telling to me. So if you're looking Mixon or Chubb rest of the season, definitely Mixon. Mostly because Mixon is utilized in that passing game and kind of gives you a higher floor. So I wouldn't say I'm panicked on Chubb, but you've got to know that Chubb is going to be a touchdown dependent running back for you. I would not put him in an elite, top 5 status. I think if we were redrafting, to me, he's a 2nd round draft pick, maybe 3rd round draft pick.
Knowing what we know now.
So yeah, I'm not ecstatic about Chubb. On Pittsburgh side, there isn't anybody that's
before we move over to the Steelers really quick. What are your thoughts on Odell Beckham? I've heard him talking a lot. I mean, dang near droppable, right? He's
droppable.
Just not involved at all.
Not playable. Super low floor, super low ceiling.
Yeah.
And Mayfield did not look good yesterday. So, that shoulder, I think, is still bothering him. And I think that's going to also impact Odell. But I think Odell, I would not be rostering Odell.
I mean, 1 target for 6 yards. 1 target, 1 catch, 6 yards. That is just eek. That's bad. That's really bad. All right.
Yeah, Landry looked all right. And for what it's worth, before we jump to Pittsburgh, I wanted to say on Chubb also, yeah, he's touchdown dependent, but yesterday, Dearness Johnson gets that touchdown. And we've seen in the past where even Hunt gets some goal line work and stuff. Chubb isn't even guaranteed to get all the goal line work.
Yep.
So it makes it more and more concerning with Chubb for me when you look at that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Alrighty. So hopping over to the Steelers, I see here in the chat while we're on it, what do y'all think of Pat Friarmuth? I thought he looked good.
Yeah. He's emerging. He's gaining Roethlisberger's trust. And, they've never used the tight end real heavily there in Pittsburgh, but he can be a decent fill-in for people going forward. If he keeps playing really well, maybe a little bit more. But, he's a decent bye week or injury replacement for sure. But he's a better real life player than fantasy player. But yeah, he's coming along pretty nicely.
Yep. 7 targets both the last games there. And Eric Ebron pretty much gets 2 targets a game. So with Ebron out, Friarmuth just doing good. So
Ebron's been a colossal disappointment when he was in Detroit. Since he's been in Pittsburgh, he's never quite lived up to what he was supposed to, or stayed healthy for some of it. So
for sure. Alrighty. Let's see. Continuing on the Steelers. Not really panicked on anyone else there that I can think of. Chris Boswell, maybe.
Well, he got his head ripped off and punted into the stands. So
yeah, I'm just gonna touch on that as a ex-kicker. Also, I've got a really bad echo coming through on someone's in there, but as an ex-kicker, not happy about that no call. It was late and helmet to helmet. Just throwing that out there. Okay, so
you probably got your own YouTube open, or did you? Something figured it out. It's gone now.
nope, I don't. So it's the microphones. Just gonna keep saying that. All right. So the next one is the Eagles and the Lions.
The
Lions
Eagles ticked me off yesterday.
Yeah. So on that though, I guess we'll start on the first one with Kenneth Gainwell. I mean, touted, barely touched the ball. Like, what?
Yeah, I think he slept with the coach's sister the night before the game, and so they just decided to give it to Boston Scott and Jordan Howard. Jordan Howard had 12 carries and 2 touchdowns. Gainwell pissed off somebody. That's all I know. I don't know what he did, but he pissed off somebody.
Yeah, not good.
You can't start him right now because you don't know who's going to get what.
Yeah. What's interesting is that they really wasn't really much of utilizing the running backs in the passing game, and that's kind of been where Gainwell has been doing most of his damage in prior weeks. I think we all expected Gainwell to have the lead running back role there with Miles Sanders out. It certainly didn't work out that way yesterday. Gainwell was really relegated to garbage time, and we saw Boston Scott and Jordan Howard. Now, you can't expect Boston Scott and Jordan Howard to do this every week. This was against a very weak Detroit run defense, and so I'm not quite sure what to do with Gainwell or these other 2 running backs, Scott or Howard. It does look at the very least like it's going to be a committee kind of approach. So I don't know if there's anybody there that you can really trust, primarily because the carries were split almost evenly across the 3. They had 35 carries, 12 and 13. And I think only Boston Scott had a single target. So outside of that, this just is not enough volume there to trust any one of these guys. So, if you want to have one of them in roster, one of them, my guess would be Scott or Gainwell, because I don't think Jordan Howard's going to be involved in that passing game.
Yeah.
But it's really a crapshoot at this point. And my concern is, even if like next week, if you wanted to start Scott, we don't really know what his role is going to be moving forward.
Yeah, I don't think you can start any of them yet. Like, maybe if one emerges, but right now you just don't feel comfortable starting any of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm staying away. Just staying away all around on that backfield.
Hurts was hella disappointing as well.
On the Detroit side.
But I'm not panicking on Hurts.
I'm not panicked on Hurts just because we know that's a weak runoff. All they had to do was run the ball. Just run. What was annoying was I thought it would go more the way that it did with Baltimore, and I thought Hurts would get more of those rushing yards. And
I think a lot of people did.
Yeah.
Here's the problem with Hurts, though, is Hurts has been decent as a fantasy quarterback, almost, I don't want to say exclusively, but mostly due to the garbage time. That's when he does his damage. Yeah. He's a garbage time quarterback.
Yep.
And it's hard to lean on that, rest of season. So I don't know how dependable Hurts is going to be as a fantasy QB moving forward. I know I'd rather have Tom Brady over Hurts.
Yes. Yeah. In fact, I would too at this point. Oh boy.
That's not even close, by the way.
No, I was wrong. Other people were right. More than just you.
I don't remember which side of the fence I was on with that one, but
I think you stayed pretty neutral, maybe, but
probably on purpose.
All right, let's move on to Detroit.
Yeah, definitely. Detroit just panicked all the way around. Just
I tell you where your major panic is on Detroit. That's if you used any fab to pick up Khalif Raymond last week, and then he had 1 target, no catches this week. You're probably panicking on that a little bit. You had to.
We're not panicked on Swift. I've already seen some trade questions here on Swift. Do not panic. Don't let somebody buy Swift low on you.
Unless it's me.
Swift is a hold. Do not move this guy. And certainly don't package him with another player to get get
a
somebody to
lesser
put that in
player.
there. We'll get to those questions when we get there, but don't panic on Swift. His usage is just too strong. At the game, it was just game script didn't work out for him yesterday, but he's going to be absolutely fine on the season.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday was a heavy TJ Hawkinson day. He had 11 targets, 10 receptions. I mean, yeah, I'm not worried about Swift.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
And then there's no one else to really talk about there.
Hawkinson bounced back nicely this week. He had not been doing real well, but yeah, he had a good game yesterday. So
yeah, I cleaned up in my DFS. Hawkinson was my tight end play, so
nice.
He's definitely the tight end to have this week. That's nice. I mean, 10 for 89 is a ridiculous stat line for a tight end.
Yep, absolutely. And just so you guys know, I think we have some new viewers in here. We are just going through the games right now really quick, and then we'll get back to your questions. We'll do a live Q&A after we get through with the games. If you're new to the channel, please like this video, subscribe to our channel. It is free, but it helps us out a lot, so appreciate you. All right, let's get back over here. Let's just move on to the Rams-Texans.
Oops, open the wrong game.
All right. Trying to think. Tyler Higbee, any worry there?
This is what Tyler Higbee is going to be. He's going to give you an occasional decent game, and for the most part, this is what you're looking at with him.
Yeah, I agree with that.
They just have too many weapons on offense. They're now. I think you're going to see them start to get Van Jefferson more incorporated with that passing offense, especially with them moving on past Jackson. Henderson has a real role. Cooper Kupp is just kind of continues to dominate the targets.
Yeah.
So Higbee is more of an afterthought.
Yep.
Yeah, Stafford is not really a check down guy. Stafford likes to kind of let it fly.
He goes big.
He does. He's got a big arm. He's always had a big arm.
He's the exact opposite of Goff.
Yeah, go big or go to Detroit. I mean,
and why do you think McVay was so excited to get that guy? He's like, I can actually throw the ball down the field. Oh my goodness! So
yeah, go big or go to Detroit. So
yeah, I'm not worried about the Rams, especially on defense. Now they got Von Miller coming in there. So.
Yeah, the Rams are going for it.
Yeah, if you've been using Rams defense on your team, you're excited for sure. They're going to get even better.
No doubt. Texans.
That run game, panic, drop them all. Actually,
well, David Johnson was a popular pickup this last week with Mark Ingram being traded to the Saints.
Yep.
And I think we've all been reminded why we've stayed away from David Johnson the last 2 or 3 years. Since that 1 or 2 good years he had with the Cardinals. This is not a very, very good offense, especially without Tyrod Taylor. If you did grab Johnson and you feel like you want to hang on for him for 1 extra week, I don't blame you. See what he looks like with Tyrod. But I just don't know for me if he presents enough upside and usage in this offense to make sense. So, and Rex Burkhead seemed to kind of get involved with that running game. He seems like he's the guy to own as far as running backs are concerned. Even at the touchdown run.
I'm going to have to bust your balls here just a little bit, Tony, because you were saying you thought David Johnson Saturday night might be a decent flex or like a sneaky pickup this week. So
could be, yeah, he was.
Corey's Mike Davis is your David Johnson.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Mike Kittle. We all have that.
Ouch.
Anytime you got a guy who is moving into a number 1 role in an offense,
he had the least amount
like Mike Davis was.
There is some potential there, and I think it's worthwhile to see, especially if it doesn't cost you anything to get a guy, to see how things might develop. And they were really utilizing him heavily in that passing game, so he was kind of being targeted quite a bit out of that backfield. But this is scary. 2 carries, 4 yards, 1 reception for -1 yards. I mean, the guy, if you're PPR, he scored you 1 point.
Yeah, he should have had a more prominent role.
You can have that on your roster. What's that?
He should have had a more prominent role, and he actually got less work. And here comes Burkhead and Scotty Phillips out of nowhere to lead the team in carries. And they had more targets than him also is just weird.
Sure.
Very weird, impossible to predict situation. But no, I just
Sure.
wanted to tease you about David Johnson versus
I
Corey.
appreciate that.
Your advice on him versus Corey's Mike Davis advice. Take some pressure off of Corey.
Yeah, I don't think I said drop Zeke to put this guy on your roster. We were saying, hey, there's a guy who could be sneaky. Let's see how this shakes out. Much like Gainwell. Let's see how things kind of shake out in that offense and whether or not he's going to be utilized. But it appears that this, he's not even rosterable.
No. And Cooks, he had a pretty decent game still, but that will also improve with Tyrod back.
But this might be your last opportunity to buy Cooks low.
Absolutely. It'll be your last.
Tyrod Taylor's coming back, and look for him to kind of pick up where he left off with Tyrod before Tyrod went on IR.
I tell you who else might be a decent, kind of a sneaky grab before Tyrod comes back, and that's Nico Collins. He's been playing really well lately, and he's available on a lot of waiver wires. A little bonus
Sure.
info for you guys there. But yeah, don't even roster these running backs.
Yeah.
Who's next?
Real quick, just a quick shout out to Touchdowns and Tight Ends for dropping in. Welcome into the chat there. Appreciate you dropping in.
TV.
All righty. Let's see. We got Titans and the Colts. Who you want to start with there?
Well, I think you're freaking out and panicking if you're a Derrick Henry owner. Just to go with the obvious choice.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what to think of that. It sucks, but I'm just saying, like they said, maybe he could be back before the end of the year now, but I don't see that coming.
They said maybe by championship week, maybe, but that fresh off a surgery and I doubt they even let him come back.
I think if this guy comes back this season, they're going to hold him for the playoffs.
Yeah, not fantasy playoffs, guys. Not fantasy playoffs.
Real
but
playoffs. NFL playoffs. Let this guy get fully healthy. They're saying it's 8 to 10 weeks healing from this procedure. Who knows what he'll be when he comes back. And so I don't think they're going to rush him. I think they're going to sit on this guy and try and hold it together so they can get to the playoffs. And if they get there, that's when you bring Henry back.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to go the rest of the season and you're still making the playoffs, you might as well sit in that 1 or 2 last games and just wait for the playoffs for them. So
I think the question is, what running back are we targeting? Are we targeting McNichols or is it AP?
Whew. How old is Adrian Peterson now? Like 35? The dude's a wonder.
He's fresh now, though. He's fresh.
That's true. Yeah. No treadmill tires for about 2 years now, right? Or
the same playing style.
He's like the Tom Brady of the running back position.
He really is a freak of nature.
That's so true. That's a perfect comparison, actually.
and he really is a perfect kind of. If anyone could try and fill Derrick Henry's shoes, it's AP. I don't know what he's got left in the tank. But chances are, if you want one of these two guys, if you're up high on waivers, you're not going to be able to get both of them. So, which one are we making a priority? That's the question.
Well, he's 36, and his last, I guess he played actually quite a bit last year too. I mean, he still had some pretty good games. I don't know. I think I might be risking it on Adrian Peterson more so than McNichols.
I think they know McNichols is just a complimentary type talent.
Yeah.
I don't think they go out and get Adrian Peterson if they think that he can carry the load.
And got him fast.
Real fast. Like, there are lesser running backs available they could have got, I think, if they just wanted somebody to back up McNichols. But they went big and they went Adrian Peterson because if I'm spending a fab or a waiver claim, I'm going for Adrian Peterson.
I also feel like there's other running backs they could have went and traded for actually fairly cheap too. That they it was just news. Adrian Peterson is coming. Boom. Adrian Peterson is signed. Like,
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that Adrian Peterson, I mean, they have enough faith in him to just
They
come
had him
in
on
there.
speed dial.
It was, yeah. So I feel like that's who I'm going for. Over
So this is a team. So I would say this is a team that its identity really was kind of tethered to Derrick Henry. They love to run the rock. They love to kind of hand it off 25, 30 times a game.
Yeah.
This is not a team that uses the dump down pass to running backs. It's just not part of their offensive philosophy. I think it's really going to kind of cap McNichols' value because they're not all of a sudden going to be this team that relies on the screen pass. And McNichols is kind of this consummate third down back, receiving back. He is not a between the tackles type runner. So I would agree. I think out of the two, AP is the guy who stands to kind of benefit most from this injury as far as fantasy is concerned. McNichols is nice, and I think McNichols is probably going to be a guy that a lot of people rush out to get.
Yeah.
But I just don't see him having the volume here in this offense the way it's built, the way someone like AP. I'd like to see if they do make another trade before the trade deadline.
Yep.
Is it just going to be AP? Because that's hard to believe. Or are they going to bring
I
somebody else in, or do they have somebody else on their roster down the practice squad that they're going to move into the active roster?
I would assume.
I was actually going to say the same thing. Yeah. Can they bring Adrian Peterson in? And it's AD for all day, not AP. Come on, get it right, Tony.
Yeah, very true. Everyone gets that
but
wrong.
Can they give him at 36 years old 30 carries a game? I don't think so. So I don't know.
We're going to find out.
Yeah, I don't know if they maybe decide to hand McNichols a handful a game if they trade for somebody or sign somebody else, but I think they almost have to because I'm not sure Adrian Peterson can handle 30 carries a game for the rest of the season. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
I'll just say McNichols hasn't had more than 2 carries in a game so far, and people might think, well, he knows the playbook better, but let me tell you, you don't have to know much of the playbook to run people over left and run people over right, because that's essentially what they call for Derrick Henry, and I think that's what they're going to call for Adrian Peterson. So
yeah, I mean, running backs that move spots tend to be the quickest on the field for teams, so because it is probably one of the easiest positions to run.
What about the Indianapolis side?
Well, screw me for finishing my thought on.
I'm sorry. I thought you were.
All right, yeah, let's go.
Trying to get us moving here a little bit.
Yeah, we got to get moving here, but sorry, Kyle.
Sorry, Kyle, I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought you were done. Don't take a breath mid-sentence.
Yeah, I'm going to need you to just power through it, Kyle.
What is it? What was it what was your thoughts? Finish, get it out.
I'm done now. I don't remember what I was talking about now.
Well, we'll let you go first on the Colts.
I don't have anybody I'm panicking on the Colts.
No, I don't either.
I mean, I thought they all looked really well. Pittman with a huge breakout game.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't have anybody I'm panicking on over there.
It was nice to see even with TY there, Pittman still get his usage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. Cool. Well, no panics there. So let's just go on to the next one, the Bengals and the Jets. Anyone on the Bengals that you're looking at?
No. Not yet. I mean, I think in a few weeks after some harder games, we might be panicking on a couple guys. But for now, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, I think some people are disappointed in CJ Uzomah because for some reason they're expecting that silly production to keep up. So I'm not, because we all knew better.
Yeah.
So not panicked on him at all. Mixon's looking good. Burrow's doing good. Yeah, I think they're doing pretty good. How about the Jets? Anyone on the Jets?
Well, just real quick with the Bengals, Chase saved his fantasy day with that touchdown catch.
Yeah, he definitely did.
Yeah.
Without that touchdown catch, he's quite the bust on Sunday.
Just delaying your foresight one more week.
Yeah, probably your last chance to sell high on any of the Bengals receivers or Mixon or anything like that. So before their schedule gets tough, I know they've been a sell the last couple weeks on Wall Street. So just throwing that out there.
Yep. Tune in to learn why. All right.
Exactly. They'll be back on there this week. I can feel it.
This week.
All right. Anyone on the Jets that you're worried about necessarily? I feel like the Jets looked dang good.
They look good. Michael Carter, who I have in so many leagues, finally really paying off for me. He's been decent for a little bit now, but really blowing up this week. Nobody I'm really panicking on, though.
Yeah, Michael Carter went off. I don't think any of us saw him finishing as the number 1 fantasy player in week 8.
No.
I did. That's why I started
95 yards. That's hard to compete with when it's coming out of your running back. Plus the 77 yards rushing and a touchdown. So
yeah,
I was impressed. Michael Carter is a guy that I've not been very high on. So that I was not expecting that type of a week from Michael Carter. I'd like to see him do it again, but
nobody expected that out of Michael Carter. Every trade I've done in any of these leagues that I've got him in, everybody tries to get him as a throw-in player all year. I'm like, I'm holding out. And so it finally paid off. Maybe I sell him now. Who knows?
Maybe panicked on Zach Wilson with Mike White playing so good.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, Mike White's playing well.
They asked the coach after, and they're like, "Well, who are you starting next week?" And he just kind of laughed, like, "Yeah, he'll be starting next week." And it's just like, "Ooh, ouch." Okay, because yeah. Anyways, I think Zach Wilson's job might be in a little bit of controversy there.
You win a game like this, I mean. Yeah, you're going to have a pretty good shot at getting another shot.
Yep. Alrighty, let's keep moving here then if you've got nobody else. New England at the Chargers. Disappointing game for the Chargers. Anyone you're thinking about there? Anyone you got on your mind?
On the New England side, I'm starting to panic a little bit with Jacoby Myers. He's not as involved there as I thought a guy playing that position would be. Like, I'm not full-blown panic yet, but I'm working to it with him. So, and then anybody behind Damian Harris in that run game, obviously.
Tony, you got anyone in there?
Yeah, I think this is what we're going to expect from Jacoby Myers. He was still the most targeted receiver on Sunday in that New England passing offense. 4 catches, 37 yards. I just think that this is who Jacoby Myers is. He's 8 to 12 points a week, and he doesn't give you a ceiling. He doesn't really give you a lower floor. That's his range, and that's what we have to expect. He's not really being utilized or targeted in the red zone. He did have, I think, 1 or 2 2-point conversions, right? Didn't he? I think
he had a 2-point conversion, I think.
Okay, yeah. So, Damian Harris, again, he saved his day with the touchdown. Again, very much touchdown-dependent type running back. Without that touchdown, he's just
Chubb-like.
Him and Chubb are very similar in that regard. So, again, not utilized really at all in the passing game. On the Chargers side, this is now a couple of weeks we've seen Herbert get shut down. So I'm not sure what defenses are doing against him now. New England and Belichick, very crafty. So they obviously have identified something that they could exploit and use against Herbert. But outside of Keenan Allen, Mike Williams certainly is not anywhere close to what we had seen from him earlier in the season. So I don't know that I'm panicked on him, but
you think you're brought back to what your original expectations were?
Yeah, just not being targeted as much. I mean, Eckler is more involved with that passing game than Mike Williams, at least last week.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see what happens if the Chargers are able to bounce back. This week against Philadelphia. But you have to have some concern there. What's that?
That's a good game to bounce back in. I think you're just starting to see Mike Williams and Keenan Allen kind of fall back into the roles that we're used to seeing them in on this team. As Allen's number 1, Williams is number 2. The first half or not even the first half, but these first 6-7 weeks felt really fluky for Mike Williams doing so well. when you still have Keenan Allen on the field. So, it's starting to realign here, I feel like.
You got to watch though. Because we got Philly this week, and then he's got Minnesota. He's got Pitt, at Denver, at Cincinnati. That's a pretty brutal 4-game stretch. So not quite sure what we're going to see from Herbert. But there is a little bit of concern there.
Yeah, it'd be hard to bench Herbert by any means.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting you bench him, but
yeah, I'm just saying it's like, so don't panic on him. I mean, you can't really. Just a disappointing.
You can grab Mike White and plug Mike White in
over Herbert.
No, I wouldn't do that.
That's a joke, guys. Someone's gonna take us seriously and go do it.
Cooper Rush, he had a pretty good game.
Dak is back this week, though. Mike McCarthy's already said he's full go.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah,
I'm just
nice.
I was just trying to be funny, Tony.
All right, I got it. Good joke.
Tony doesn't like your jokes, Kyle. All right.
He's a Dak owner, so he's defending his honor.
Yeah, no doubt. How about the Jags and the Seahawks? Lockett's back, baby. Being that boom bust play, I mean,
yeah, I didn't see this kind of game coming for Lockett as long as Geno was playing. It was a little bit strange watching.
Just because it was the Jags, probably. But
probably, I imagine Lockett was. It's that old squeaky wheel gets the grease situation. He was probably upset. He hadn't got the ball a lot the last few weeks, and so they really worked hard to game plan him in, and it worked out for him. So,
I mean,
Dak still got his, or Dak. See, now you got Dak on my brain, Tony. DK still got his though. That run game is just not very good until Carson comes back, but. Yeah, I guess we can stop freaking out about Lockett now.
No, I'm still avoiding Lockett because he's
got a bye and then Russell comes back. So
I'm still not buying Lockett.
I'm not buying him.
No, I'm just saying I'm not buying that he's going to be consistent with that at all. So I'm avoiding him, but I'm not panicked on him. You just know he's a boom bust player, so.
But I'm saying you can get back to using him as you normally would going forward because, like I say, he's got a bye week now, and then he's got Russell. So I was panicked on him when Geno first, when Russell first got hurt and Geno was playing. Like, I didn't want anything to do with Lockett. Now, you go back to normal on him. So
I trust Lockett the most on his bye week. So, Tony, you got any thoughts on any of this?
No, this is prototypical Lockett. I did not. I don't think any of us saw this type of game, especially after last week's performance.
Yeah.
Coming with Lockett this week, this is a timing receiver, and to kind of have this type of connection with Geno is quite a bit of a surprise. I will say that if it was going to happen, it's going to happen against the Jacksonville Jaguar defense.
Yep.
So we have to take into consideration who the game was against. But I agree with Kyle. They're going into their bye, and then we are expecting Russell back week 10. So you can definitely roll Lockett out week 10. Just know that this is the volatility that you have with Tyler Lockett, that even with Russell, he is going to have his boom or bust. It's just his booms are typically higher and his ceilings are typically high. I mean, his floor is typically higher, even when he's a bust. But yeah, so I think come week 10, assuming Russell is back, you can roll him out. On Jacksonville's side, Laviska Shenault is a bust. We can go ahead and say it for all of us. And I was one of them who saw him as a real sleeper going into the season.
Mm-hmm.
He just he is not involved at all with this offense. So he's a guy you're dropping.
He's been surpassed by Jamal Agnew.
Agnew definitely. Agnew and Arnold are the two guys that seem to they really want to get involved in this passing game. So, we had talked about Arnold on Fantasy Night Live, and wasn't really commanding a large target share. But coming out of this game, he might be a guy who's beginning to emerge in that offense along with Agnew.
Even Marvin Jones is starting to fade a little bit.
Yeah,
compared to early.
Well, it's one game. We still, they still targeted him quite a bit. So But I agree with you. I think Agnew and Dan Arnold are the two guys that give you the highest upside. I just think for me, I don't really know that I want to own a part of this offense.
No.
I just, I'm concerned about the Jaguars, as many of us are in general. And outside of James Robinson and now possibly Carlos Hyde, if Robinson misses any time, I just don't know that there's any buyer that I really want to own.
I don't think I want even Carlos Hyde while Robinson's out. I don't think.
Look, Hyde had 6 catches yesterday, so that 6 catches, 40 yards.
Yeah.
They're going to utilize him in that running game if Robinson misses time. He's the only guy in this Jacksonville offense that I would consider playing, even if it's in a flex role as a fill-in, going with the bye weeks hitting us. So outside of that, keep an eye on Dan Arnold, see how his usage continues to build and grow. And if you've got him and you want to put a stash on Arnold, but we're going to see, we're going to get these buys. So a lot of our primary tight ends are going to be available. Kittle's going to be coming back off IR. Gronk, now we know they rushed him back a little too soon. He's going to be getting back on the field. Waller coming off his bye. So
Yeah. All right, guys. We have reached the hour mark. We've got 3 games left. Let's do some quick fire here and just get through these. First one being the Broncos and the Washington football team. Antonio Gibson. Yeah, he's hard to trust from week to week.
He is. I mean, Patterson had 3 more carries than he did yesterday. So maybe they took the injury designation away from him, and then they gave the backup more carries. So I don't know what's going on right now with him, but I don't think he's 100% healthy.
So real quick, Heineke is going to cap the ceiling of these receivers, whether it's McLaurin or Ricky Seals-Jones. Seems like the only guy who is catching everything that comes his way is J.D. McKissick, probably because there's little screen dump-off passes. I agree. I think here's what I think is happening with Gibson is their season is starting to get away from them. And Gibson, along with Terry McLaurin, is one of the most talented players on this roster. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they begin to kind of protect this guy, reduce his workload, let him get healthy, and kind of have him ready to roll fully healthy in 2022. This season isn't going anywhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of see that continue to develop as the season goes on. I am panicked on Gibson now, just based on what we saw develop yesterday with Patterson.
Yeah.
On Denver's side, not what we expected against this Washington pass defense. Getting one of the easiest, if not the easiest, pass defense in the league. We expected big games from Sutton and Judy. Bridgewater did not put up the type of stats we expected from him. So, don't really know what to expect from these guys moving forward. I think Sutton was probably a sell high. Judy, I think, is going to have the most value moving forward as he gets healthy. But again, with these types of quarterbacks, it just is difficult to predict on a weekly basis what to get out of these receivers.
Yep. Yeah, I was actually going to say that exact same thing. It's the same thing as Washington. It's the same thing as Carolina. It's quarterback captured your receivers.
Yep. Heck, even Big Ben up in Pittsburgh kind of capping some of those receivers too. So,
not like these other 3 though.
No, not at all. Alrighty, the Bucks and the Saints. I'll start off here. Worried about Gronk, his health.
Yeah, they obviously brought him back too early.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'd be a little panicked on him just to see how far back it set him. We don't know quite yet. So, but I'm not panicked enough to where I'm like getting rid of him or nothing like that. So concerned, not panicked.
I mean, you kind of have to sit on him, right? But always had these back issues, and that was rough.
Yeah.
Tony, what are your thoughts on Gronk?
Yeah, well, it's difficult to to trust Gronk, and with this passing offense, they just seem to have so many options, so many weapons. Gronk had definitely a real defined role early in the season, but Godwin is emerging as their true number one. I don't think that that's going to go anywhere. Even going into the week, he's been the number one receiver target. He has the most targets, red zone targets in the league than any other receiver. Mike Evans took a back seat this week. We're going to see Antonio Brown coming back. And so, yeah, I am a little bit concerned about Gronk. Even Fournette has taken a role in this passing offense. So, but I'm not panicked. I wouldn't say I'm panicked on Gronk. I'd like to see him get fully healthy and then see what type of a role he has. He obviously has a clear connection with Brady, and Brady does look his way, especially down in that red zone. So if you have him, you got him either late in the draft or he was not really a primary target in most drafts.
He was so late for everybody. Yeah.
He was really late for everybody. So, you didn't waste high draft capital getting this guy. So you probably have another tight end that you're using that you thought was going to be your number one tight end and then kind of take a flyer on Gronk. So it probably doesn't hurt you not to play him just yet. The one guy who kind of disappointed this week might be a good buy low opportunity is Leonard Fournette. Yeah. Fournette did not produce. He had been really producing like an RB1.
Big time.
And we did not see that from him on Sunday. So I'm not panicked on Fournette. I think, again, could be a buy low opportunity. On the New Orleans side, I don't know how this injury to Winston is going to affect Kamara, because Kamara really is the one guy on the offense that is rosterable that you're playing weekly. Outside of Kamara, you're not really playing Callaway or any of these other receivers. The one thing with Kamara now, Winston has a top 3, top 4, top 5 arm in the league in terms of his arm strength, and it forces those DBs to kind of
back off a little bit,
kind of back off that line a little bit, not load the box, and just to know that Winston could take the top off it at any point. Without him, with Simeon or Hill, it kind of changes this offense quite a bit. And if Hill's going to be the starting quarterback, what happens to these rushing yards? Because we know that Taysom loves to run the Wildcat. Sean Payton likes to run him.
Yep.
So I'm not sure how that's going to impact Kamara.
It hurts his goal line. I think we saw last year.
I was going to say last year we saw how Hill affects it. So I don't think it's going to be good. Maybe they figure out a way to improve on that, since they got a whole half of the season left to go, where it's probably going to be Hill, or if they end up trading for somebody or whatever. Cam Newton's still available.
Well, there's another goal line vulture.
But
Ingram was involved yesterday too, more than I expected in his first game. So I think Kamara's value to me is a little bit concerning.
Yep.
Yeah, Kamara. And then if Mike Thomas comes back, it's also going to affect him if Taysom Hill's playing instead of Jameis Winston also.
Yeah, I'm less excited for Michael Thomas coming back without Jameis Winston under center for sure.
Make no mistake, this is a significant downgrade at quarterback.
Significant.
I know we hadn't really seen it yet from Winston, but yesterday, if you watched any of it until he got injured, he had 40 yards rushing. He's looked very sharp.
Yep.
So this is quite a significant downgrade for them at offense. So their entire offense, I think, takes a hit.
Yeah, good thing you traded him in your 2 QB league, huh?
I just traded Winston.
Like last week.
Yeah, I just traded him.
All righty. Anyone else there before we move on to the next?
Nope.
Cool. All right. Somehow I skipped one. So before we get to tonight's game, let's go Cowboys-Vikings.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to do it last night too on Sloppy Sundays with Seven. So I had to throw it in here too with you guys. Just, man, found a way to win that game with no Dak Prescott. That was an adrenaline rush for sure.
Yeah. So if we're going to talk about the Cowboys, Dalton Schultz, disappointing night after having a pretty good season.
But he did have the targets.
Do what?
Yeah, he did have the targets.
It was quarterback. I mean, I'm not digging too deep into that. Cooper Rush was under center for the night, and it just wasn't the night for Schultz.
They let Cooper Rush unleash the ball a lot more than I thought they would.
Yeah,
like they didn't change their offense that much at all.
No,
and I didn't expect him to play that well. So
He played really well.
I was very impressed there, which means going forward, there's no reason to panic on Cooper or Lamb if Dak's out, because clearly he's still going to get the ball to him.
Yeah,
I think so. I think because Zeke and Pollard were two of the guys that we thought were going to have strong games. I saw it as a Zeke game.
yeah,
But I think, kind of watching that game, Zimmer is very savvy. I mean, he was a defensive coordinator for Dallas back when Parcells was there. So he's a defensive-minded coach. And it seemed yesterday that they loaded the box. They were going to shut down Zeke, that running game, and they said, we're going to make Cooper Rush beat us.
yep.
And
he did.
And he did.
And he did.
And so I don't know
Against the odds.
I don't know that's how it goes down next time, but I don't disagree with you. I think, Cooper can definitely get the ball out. Maybe next time they let Cedric Wilson run the quarterback position.
Jeez, that pass was incredible. His one throw was just incredible.
It was, wasn't it? Like,
It was one of the best passes of the night for sure. I mean, on the run, on target, gorgeous spiral. It was beautiful.
So we're not panicked on anybody on the Dallas side. On the Minnesota side, you're not panicked there. You're not worried about Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook's going to be absolutely fine.
Yep. Dalvin Cook still.
Justin
Dalvin
Jefferson
Cook.
was not heavily involved in that passing game, which was a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then got hurt on top of that. So, but not panicked on Justin Jefferson either. I mean, name me a wide receiver that hasn't had a down week so far this
absolutely
season.
Not. Absolutely not worried about Justin Jefferson.
Yeah,
Nope.
I mean, Trevon Diggs contributed to that poor performance for Justin Jefferson.
Sure.
Yeah, and Thielen had a decent night. So,
which we also called that, saying, the number 2 receiver tends to always have a better game.
Yep.
Against Dallas. So definitely called the Thielen a good game.
Yep, no doubt. Alrighty, let's move to tonight's game, the Chiefs and the Giants. Boy, the Chiefs just not looking pretty. I see a lot of comments over here talking about Kelsey. You're not panicked on Kelsey.
You're not.
I'm not panicked. I'm disappointed, but I'm not panicked.
Yeah, he had a rough night, but you're not panicked on him for sure.
Tony might disagree. Tony might want to trade for him in our Dynasty League, and so he's going to tell me how I need to get rid of him. Just kidding.
I'm not panicked on Kelsey.
Tony plays 4D chess while we're all playing checkers.
But it used to be this offense was the Tyreek Hill and Kelsey show.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It used to really run through Kelsey, and that has changed. You can't deny that it's changed.
Yeah.
They are definitely getting the ball into the hands of their running backs a lot more.
They did lean on that run heavy tonight.
Heavy.
Not just run heavy, but also, there were quite a bit of dump off passes tonight.
Yep.
And, Mecole Hardman is got more of a role in this offense. And so I think it's just because, and look, Mahomes threw the ball 48 times. And Mahomes threw the ball 48 times and Kelsey went 4 for 27. That is cause for concern. And this is now seemed to be a little bit of a trend. So still had those 7 targets, but yes, I think I am a little bit nervous about Kelsey and just how they're utilizing him in this offense. There's more of a complementary type role with these receivers, with the exception of Tyreek Hill, who stole the night with 18 targets.
Yeah,
right. That's incredible. I was playing against him in a tight matchup, so of course he did well. I mean,
18 targets, that's a lot.
Kelsey is only, that's a lot of targets. Kelsey's only had 2 games where he hasn't gotten up into double digit scoring. And
but you expect 20 plus points from him, not just
right.
10
He's only done that 2 games. He's gotten 17 plus points in 3 games. And the last 3 games, week 5, he had 10 targets and 11 targets and 12 targets. Tonight, back down to 7. So the targets are there. The scores aren't. The scores definitely haven't been there.
Scores are not what you drafted him at the end of the first of the second for,
But I feel like Mahomes is also having those types of games. Mahomes was drafted way early, and he's not putting up the points that people drafted him that early either. So
No, even on a night tonight where they run, where they won the game and he threw the ball 48 times, he had 275, 1 touchdown and interception. So no, this offense is kind of out of sync.
Yep, he's had 16 fantasy points tonight. Ouch.
You think Jason's regretting taking him 2 overall in that dynasty league yet?
I sure hope so. All right, guys, y'all want to jump over here into the chat?
Let's do it.
Yeah,
all righty, let's come back up to the.
Did you want to talk about the Giants? We didn't even talk about the Giants.
Oh yeah, I guess we could talk about the Giants.
I guess we can talk about the Giants.
Sterling Shepard can't stay healthy. How about that?
I actually saw a question earlier about Kadarius Toney. So
I did too.
But 4 for 26 on 5 targets, coming back from an injury.
I think it's injured.
I mean, yeah, I think it's injured again.
Yeah.
He's going to be just like the rest of these Giants. None of them can stay healthy. Ever. Shepard's never healthy. Barkley's never healthy. So
Toney is a stash to me. Until you see him really produce. I know he had one game where he blew up and everybody rushed out to get him, but we've got to see him do it week in and week out. I think he's the most talented receiver on this offense. They're just not getting the ball into his hands, and they're not giving him quality looks. So you're not going to drop Toney. You're going to hold him. You're going to stash him and see what happens over the upcoming weeks. The fact that these other receivers can't stay healthy should be helping Toney.
Yeah.
But, I really thought we were going to see more from Darius Slayton. He was basically non-existent in tonight's game. They don't really want to give Ingram involved, even though he had the 1 touchdown catch, and I think has potential. So Shepard's again banged up, and just not a guy I think that you can trust on a weekly basis due to his track record.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alrighty, we'll jump over here. Kyle, watch the bottom of the chat for any new info that comes in. Alrighty. Panic on Chubb, already touched on that, but hey, welcome back. Sushi lover, appreciate you hopping in tonight.
I've seen a lot of our regulars in the chat popping up, so definitely appreciate y'all.
Sorry about that, Mr. Sarcastic.
Just trade Aaron Jones for Derrick Henry. Let's hope he comes back for the fantasy playoffs. Wow, that's rough. Yeah, that's a rough go right there. Sorry, buddy.
Was it Mr. Sarcastic? Was that a straight up trade?
I would guess
that was straight up Jones for Henry.
Not.
What's that?
I would guess not. I don't see someone trading away Henry for Aaron Jones with the way Henry was producing.
I always talk about
Packers
this.
fan.
No, I always talk about this. Value is subjective, and so
it really is.
I mean, if somebody was a Henry owner, maybe they predicted him getting injured and said, I don't want the risk with the number of touches this guy has, so let me move on from him. So
crystal ball. Just
speaking of trades being subjective, I know Saturday night you were talking about how you hate veto leagues and why, and you had that little rant of yours, and no, he called it that, not me. Yesterday on the pregame. Sorry, I was on way too long yesterday. I was on like 9.5, 10 hours when all was said and done. Pregame, Zach Attack with shot callers. He's in a league that has a veto power, and he was talking about trying to figure out the fairness of trades and blah, 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 blah. And I basically parroted Tony and explained why that's horse crap and why you shouldn't be in a veto league.
Well, of course, Tony doesn't like veto leagues. How else is he going to take advantage of these newbies and Jason? Just kidding. I hate veto leagues too. That's trash. You just go into the chat and complain about it, but you don't veto it. Come on.
Yeah. All of that to say, yes, trade value is very subjective.
It really is.
Well, I used the example I used on Fantasy Night Live was DK and Chase. If someone had traded, somehow had DK and Calvin Ridley and said that they traded DK and Calvin Ridley for Jamar Chase, people would have, be up in arms. They'd have a fit saying this is not fair. This guy's getting Jamar Chase and you're getting Ridley and DK. And yet to go back to week 1, that's a trade you would do in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. It's very subjective, and you got to
Yeah.
be really careful when you veto trades and not let guys kind of use their subjective opinions on who they think is best for their team.
Well, if someone sees a team getting too good, they'll veto it for that reason too. Even if it's a good trade, they'll keep someone's team from getting stronger if they
And
see that happening
that's
too.
another thing I told Zach too. Yeah, like you're trying to evaluate fairness, but then you also get people that are just like, oh well, I don't want him to improve there, so I'm going to veto this so he don't
Yeah.
get that player. And that's the kind of crap you get into with those.
Yep. Alrighty. Mr. Sarcastic, major panic on Gibson. Literally can't sell him either. No one wants Gibson in a 3 running back backfield. Yep, very
Yes.
true. That trade
Right.
value is just. Michael Chapp, we talked about both of these, Herbert and Cook, but welcome into the chat. Thanks for joining us tonight. And he's just panicked on his whole damn fantasy team.
So am I. I got several that I'm like that on. Yes. Like 10 out of 11, I think I'm panicked on right now.
Exactly. James, we talked about Tony, but welcome in. Let's see. I already talked to him. Let's see. We already talked. We didn't pull it up though earlier. Mixon or Chubb rest of season full PPR. Hey Jay, welcome back this week. Did we say who we were taking on that?
Mixon.
Oh, we said we were taking Mixon for
I
sure.
think. Yeah.
Yep. Alrighty. Do we just have to accept? Oh, Jason, welcome back. By the way, appreciate you dropping in again this week. Do we just have to accept Mclaurin as a boom bust?
As long as Heineke's the QB, yeah.
Yeah, I think we just have to accept that. Sad, but kind of true. And this one from Cole. What's up, Cole? Should I trade DJ Moore and Swift for Chase? No.
Don't trade Swift. Do not trade Swift.
Yep. That's too much.
Even in a full PPR, I don't care. Do not trade Swift.
Well, Swift catches the ball. Yeah, I'm not doing that.
I know, but I'm just saying some people think receivers catching more than running backs, but don't trade Swift.
Right.
And you'd be trading out rock bottom for DJ Moore.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's not a good time to move DJ Moore right now because you're really not going to get value for him. But I agree with Kyle. I wouldn't move Swift, and I don't expect Chase to keep up the pace he had at the beginning of the season.
Agree. Yep.
So you kind of, even though we had a down week, you'd still be buying Chase almost at a high.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I know we answered this one earlier, but just want to say hey to Albert because we talked about good old Pat there. But Thanks for dropping in, Albert.
Albert.
Let's see. Cole, I got Kamara, Swift, Henderson, and Patterson at running back. Okay, so this is following up to the
follow-up
to DJ Moore and Swift for Chase.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I sit tight right there. You got nice depth, good players. I sit tight.
One other thing that helps when you post these questions with the roster is to know what you're like. Are you playing? I'm going to assume you're playing 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a flex.
I always just assume that.
Yeah, that's what I
Unless they say otherwise.
I don't want to assume that, but yes, if that's the case, then it definitely impacts how we might advise you or some of the feedback we give.
Yep, no doubt. I mean, yeah, that's a pretty good little hookup there on your. Well, do you think he tries to sell Kamara for Chase in a deal somehow?
Well, obviously, it looks like he's trying to improve his receiver position. But what I would try to do is, I think if you can kind of get a Patterson in there, and maybe a DJ Moore or a Judy, that's the type of deal that I would be looking to do. But I would hold Kamara, Swift, and Henderson. I mean, those are your starting 2 of those running backs. You got one in the flex. AJ Brown's your receiver 1, and then you're going to try and upgrade your other receiver position. Patterson,
DJ Moore would be a.
Well, you're not going to start Patterson over any of those running backs. If anything, Patterson's your number 2 receiver. So if you can package Patterson and DJ Moore or one of those other receivers to get someone like a Chase, that I would consider.
Yep.
Yeah, agreed.
Like that. Okay, so we just got through talking about Kelsey. He's not been doing hot.
One other quick thing too, not to go backwards, but
no, that's fine.
Cole, just another quick point is if you move Swift. I guess if it's dually eligible, this might not apply. But if you move Swift and something happens to Kamara or Henderson, you're stuck at running back. So I like the fact that you have some depth there.
Yeah. Running back depth is paramount.
And I feel like it's easier to find receivers than it is to get running backs like this.
Totally.
So, okay, sorry.
No worries. Uwick. Thanks for coming in.
It's
Kelsey has not been doing hot. Ewick. Oh, that may actually be true.
Like a little kid saying Eric.
Ewick. What's the move? Keep him or try to trade him? We already said. I mean, what do you think, Tony? What's the move? I mean, you'd have to get still good value out of him.
Oh, I think you could still get elite value for him. It just depends on what you get. I mean, that's really the question. It depends who's your starting tight end going to be.
Yeah.
And who are you going to move him for?
Maybe a buy low on Waller. Use Kelsey, get a buy low on Waller, and get another good piece or something.
Waller. I wouldn't do a straight up trade.
No, of course not. No, but I'm saying you could buy low on Waller and get something else with him.
Absolutely.
That wouldn't be necessarily a bad move.
Or even a Pitts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Because you might get a buy low on Pitts right now.
I think Kelsey's value is I think Kelsey still has the most value at the tight end position. So anyone, if you don't have another starting tight end, those are the teams that I would target. I would target the owners of whoever has Pitts, Waller, or Andrews.
Yeah. Kelsey's gonna have to have a really bad year to not still have that name equity carry something in a trade.
100%.
Even a Hawkinson, see who has Hawkinson and maybe get Kelsey for Hawkinson and another player. But I just don't want to go from Kelsey to like Zach Ertz or Tyler Higbee.
Right.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, especially with someone like Waller, that people are just going to be really down on right now. You're going to get him at his lowest value probably right now. So whatever you get with Waller is probably going to be also pretty dang good. So that might be where you get the best bang for your buck, but maybe it doesn't line up. So yeah, I agree with your list of trade targets tied in there for sure. J2 Nice saying the same thing. Trade Kelsey.
Depends what you get.
Same thing. Yep.
But trade him at a high value. Don't settle.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing with Kelsey, and many times it works this way. Unless you're a Kelsey owner, he's a target of yours. You know what I mean? It's like when you own the guy and he's not been playing well, as an owner of Kelsey, you get frustrated. And so now you're looking to sell him. And so on this note, Kelsey might be a great buy low guy. Kelsey might be a guy to look at and say, hey, whoever owns Kelsey might be a bit frustrated with him as a tight end this year. Maybe this is an opportunity for me to kind of go in and try and get him.
Corey and Roll Tide.
What's that?
Corey in one of our leagues.
I'm selling him at elite price though, Kyle. Same as before. It has not gone down. Your price has not gone down. Touchdowns and tight end said, I don't know if I would trade Kelsey yet. As soon as I was going to bench Allen, he pulled it off Sunday. So.
Well, and I also see, TD and tight ends. I see the Charger hat. Why would you bench your receiver?
Yeah, that's
not right.
That's disloyalty right there.
You can't do that.
That is rough, man. That's hardcore. Bench your own receiver. That's like me and Kyle benching CeeDee Lamb or Amari Cooper.
Yeah, that's just not right.
That's sacrilegious. Call yourself a fan. You bench him and then go to the game and watch him perform, because that's what she did too. So that's something right there.
Yeah, part of the fun of fantasy is getting your players, guys you root for, guys who play on your team, and getting to watch them and root for them on Sunday.
And that's why I hate that I can't get CeeDee Lamb in Redux, because it breaks my heart.
Untouchable for sure. All right, let's see. All in one show. Thanks for dropping in. Hey guys, is there still a chance to trade CMC?
100%
worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. You can still trade him. You just got to find the right trade partner that's willing to give you, the right value for him. He's still valuable.
Yep. And I traded for him in a league. I was 6-1, and I traded for him because I could afford to sit on it a few more weeks. So that's just kind of situation. If he's back by playoffs, then my team's dangerous. So people are still looking to buy him if they're in the right spot.
If you're hemorrhaging wins, however, and it's looking like you're going to struggle to make the playoffs, I would try to sell him and get someone you could start using immediately. But now, I would have done that a couple weeks ago. Now CMC this week or next week looking like he might be back. So
But is he? What are we going to expect from him? And is he going to stay healthy?
Right.
Yeah, is
You
he
don't know.
back, or is he like Texas Longhorns back?
Or is
You
he
know?
Gronk? He could be Gronk back.
Yeah, I liked my Texas Longhorns back better. That was more funny, but
Yeah, it was more funny, but the Gronk back was more helpful.
you're
By
right.
the way, as far as the Carolina backfield is concerned, I don't know that. I mean, Trevor Hubbard is not CMC, but I don't know that he's just going to disappear.
Right.
I do expect them to kind of have more of a carry split, and they do a little bit utilize him in that passing game. So, I definitely think we all have concerns about CMC, which is why you're posting the question. So if you can get good value for him,
you've seen quite a few backups covering Dearness Johnson, Khalil Herbert, Chuba Hubbard, some of these guys that have earned more prominent roles in the offense, even when these starters return this year more than usual. And I think that has a lot to do with the extended season and the amount of these injuries. So, yeah, I agree. I think Hubbard's going to have a role in this offense going forward. I don't think you're going to see. I mean, CMC's still elite, but he's not. He's going to lose a handful of carries at least to Hubbard. I think just to help keep him healthy.
Just a couple quick ideas too. If you can get a package deal with, let's say Swift, who just had a down week, even a Darrell Henderson, I would definitely consider heavily doing that type of a trade. I don't think you're going to be able to get a Jonathan Taylor or a Kamara or another elite running back in return. But if you can do my son just traded CMC and he got back Darrell Henderson and Brandon Cooks. That type of a trade is something I think is a fair value for CMC, and he had an issue at his receiver position, and he solved an issue on his roster. So
I traded him in Dynasty a couple weeks ago and got Justin Jefferson. So
yeah. That's a good trade, but that's a different story too, because it's Dynasty, so values are definitely not the same as they are for redraft. But yes, if you could do that type of a trade, that's something type of thing I would do.
Yeah. You're muted.
Crap. Okay. All right. LeBron's, welcome back, man. Is Pittman a wide receiver one? Also, is he sell high worthy? Is his ceiling yet to come? What do we think on Pittman?
I don't know that he's a wide receiver one consistently. He's a solid two, but also don't think he's a sell high. Like, I think he can keep up that production, if I'm being honest. He's had a pretty good year all around. So unless you just really need something else for your team, I'm probably just going to sit tight on him.
Tony's nodding, so.
No, Pittman to me is and it might be too late, but Pittman to me I tried buying him all week last week, and I couldn't find any takers. I agree with Kyle. I don't know that I'm ready to move off of Pittman, because outside of Pittman in that offense, Hilton can't stay healthy, so you don't have to worry about TY. Pittman is the number one receiver in that offense. 15 targets on Sunday. He has the largest target share. He has the most routes run, the largest. I wouldn't sell that. This is not a mirage with Pittman.
Yeah.
The numbers are there to support him as a, you say a 2. I mean, he could be a high 2, low 1. So he's kind of in that ballpark. This is not a guy that I'd be moving off of. And Wentz is really starting to come on a little bit. So Pittman to me is a buy. Like, I'm not selling Pittman. I don't think this is a sell high opportunity for him.
Well, 4 out of his next 5 games are the Jets, the Jags, then the Bills, which isn't great, but then Tampa Bay and Houston. So
first the Jets are pretty tough against the pass. The Jets are not a gimme against the pass, but yeah, Houston certainly is an easy game. I know he has New England and
Arizona. So yeah, his fantasy playoff schedule will be New England, Arizona, and Las Vegas.
Yeah, but he's who are you going to replace him with if you trade him? I would not be moving off of Pittman, not with those types of numbers. You're not going to be able to find another receiver with that number of routes run, that snap share and that target share.
Right.
He owns that passing offense.
Yep.
Would you trade
Plus,
Pittman for McLaurin straight up?
They've got a great running back in Taylor who helps to keep kind of that prevents them from emptying that box. They've got to make sure that they've got enough men up in that box to keep Taylor from going off, and that kind of opens things up for Pittman.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Kyle, did you have anything on that?
No, I
before
was
we
just
move
going
on?
to say let's maybe move on a little bit.
Alrighty, regular productions. Well, I won with David Johnson playing, but only 5.8 points. Never playing Houston running back again. Yeah,
One and
stay
done.
away. Yep.
You could have
Well,
benched
thank
him
you,
and
man.
still won, though. That's the sad part. Like,
That's funny. I bet your opponent was pissed. All right, I want to get D Adams. What is a good trade with my team? If I go Winston McLaurin, I have Winston McLaurin.
Well, Winston, you can't go. Winston is gone.
Yeah.
You need a quarterback and a tight end.
Yeah, Gesicki is not a good
Why are
tight
you
end.
trying to get Devontae Adams?
you got Deontay Johnson and Devontae Smith and McLaurin. You don't need Adams. You need a QB for sure.
And
Yeah.
Gesicki, I'm concerned about Gesicki with Devontae Parker back. Preston Williams gets back in
Absolutely.
that offense, so Gesicki might be a sell high.
Yeah. I would go quarterback and tight end targets.
And I don't know who you're moving though. Who are you trading to kind of?
I think
you're
that's
not
what he's
gonna- you're
asking.
not
I think
trading
that's what he's
Kamara and
asking. But
How did you get Kamara and Dalvin Cook?
Had to be a trade. That's probably why the rest of the team's a little bit weak. I'm guessing maybe there was another trade in there because I'm trying to figure out where the second round. Well,
There's
McLaurin
also-
could have been a second round pick.
there's also no way that's his entire bench
No.
and everything either. So we're missing some info
Yeah.
as far as what we could trade for. But
Yeah.
you need a QB and you need a tight end.
Yeah. All right.
Gesicki still has a little bit of value, like you say, to people who don't realize that Devontae Parker is going to hurt his workload. But so try to trade Gesicki for someone like Goddard or Ertz maybe, and then
Ertz on a down.
find a quarterback.
Yep. Trade him to the Dolphins fan in your league. All right.
Yeah.
Jason, 14 PPR, Allen Brady, Najee Jones. Okay, blah, blah, blah. What do you think? Oh, just an opinion on your roster here. Well, Henry, no go.
Saquon.
Yeah.
I'm looking at that roster, and I'm pretty sure you're in a 2-team league and you cheated.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, so you've got your quarterbacks.
Says 14 PPR at the beginning. I missed that.
Yeah. So
that's I was like, there's no way this is a real team.
Well, you have probably 3 of the top 4 or 5 receivers.
Yeah.
So you got that locked up. The injury to Henry really hurt. In Saquon, both really hurt you. Brady number 1 QB, Najee top 5. Jones is nice, but if you had Henry, Saquon, you'd probably be a lock for the championship. With those 2 guys out, hopefully Saquon comes back healthy. Andrews is top 3, so Bills number 1 defense. You're in good shape.
I think with that roster, you're a lock for the semifinals.
You're locked to make it top 4.
You'd be in that top 4 for sure. Top 2 if Henry and Saquon are healthy, but top 4 for sure.
Let's see. Brian Gibbons, welcome in, man. Appreciate you coming in. Week of underachievers: Fournette, Sutton, McLaurin, David Johnson. Bought into the volume hype for a flex spot. Nally Cox, Boomer busted. Staying put, but hard not to look for a move. Haha.
I'm trying to buy Fournette if I can.
Yeah.
This week.
Don't sell Fournette. Sutton, I'm a little worried about. McLaurin, sad.
McLaurin's gonna have his booms and busts, but I'm not selling him if I got him. I'm not sure if I'm buying him right now.
I'm not.
I don't know. I'm sure we'll cover that Wednesday on Wall Street.
Yeah, probably. Come on Wall Street on Wednesday. That's a good one. That's where you'll see Tony really nerd out on those stats. Just FYI, get a full dosage of that. That's some good, valuable information. I watch it because I learn a lot from it. So
I learn from it too. I sit here
Yeah.
and just absorb it through the monitor.
that's weird.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys.
So, yeah, join us for that. Let's see. We had another one come on from LeBron's.
Yep. It just popped up.
Who would you consider trading Pittman for? I don't need him in my team, and I need a running back because Gibson. Yeah. Okay. So Pittman for a running back of some sort. He doesn't need Pittman. So what kind of running back are you trading for, guys?
Well, if you're going to trade Pittman, this is certainly the time to trade him after this game he just had yesterday.
Yep.
And so if you don't need him and you want to move him, that's your call. But I mean, you're obviously going to package him up with Gibson to try and get some type of value out of Gibson before it's all shot. And I look at teams who need a receiver. You're going to try and get the best running back you can. You know, I don't know if you want us to rank them for you or give you some running back targets. You have any ideas?
Yeah, let us know if you have any ideas there.
I'm asking Kyle if he had any ideas of guys that he could target.
Yeah, if you can package.
Try to get a Swift coming off a down week.
Package Gibson with Pittman and maybe go for a Swift after a down week. Maybe grab a Barkley right before he comes back. I don't think you'll be able to pull that one off, but maybe.
Ordinarily, I'm not real big on trading for injured players, so I would definitely go the Swift route first. But I totally get the Barkley. You know, I think Barkley looked great until he re-injured his injured his ankle.
Yeah.
But I think you got to try and get somebody like a Swift. Maybe even if you're trading Pittman, maybe you can somehow convince the guy to give you Jonathan Taylor so he doesn't have both the running back and receiver on the same team.
Be tough, but it's worth a shot.
I don't think you're going to be able to get anything like that. I think you're with where Gibson's value is right now. I don't think you'll get a Jonathan Taylor. Maybe an Alvin
I don't think
Kamara.
so either.
Maybe a Kamara. You might be able to get an Alvin Kamara.
I don't think you're going to get a Kamara. I think you're looking more like
CMC.
I think you're looking more like Swift.
You might
maybe
be
a
able
couple notches down, maybe a Henderson. Maybe, like you said, a Fournette whose value is down after this last week. You know, those types of guys.
Yeah.
If you could do a Pittman for Chubb straight up, are you doing it?
I'm trying to get somebody. I'm just not crazy about Chubb because of his lack of usage in the passing game.
Right. So you would take Pittman over Chubb?
Yeah, he just wouldn't be a target of mine to trade for. I think if that's the best, if that's the best you can do and you need a running back, then you got to do it.
Yeah.
I don't hate Chubb.
I'd rather get Nixon though, or something.
Yeah, I think that's the type of guy you want to, in PPR, you're going to try and go for somebody who has real PPR value.
Yep.
I like the Swift, Henderson, maybe a Mixon, maybe even a Zeke. He could sneak in there.
That might
after
be
a down week there. So,
I think you can get Fournette the easiest.
Fournette would be the easiest.
You might be able to get Pittman.
You might be able to get him straight up and hang on to Gibby.
Yeah. Or even throw in like a lower running back that you're still not playing. So just don't trade for Derrick Henry.
Yeah, for real.
Alrighty,
or
guys.
Mike Davis.
Yeah, no Mike Davis.
Did you say or Mike Davis?
Yeah,
defensive hold on Mike Davis. You stash him on your bench. I'm joking, guys. Totally joking.
I'll tell you a guy who's also interesting to me, just because we're talking about this stuff. But there were some Aaron Jones owners who were panicked because he had a couple down weeks, and so the Aaron Jones owner might be looking to sell him right now. Had a good game on Thursday and say, hey, this is a good time for me to move Aaron Jones.
Yep.
Aaron Jones is the type of guy I'd love to have on my roster.
Yep, same.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. I think that's another good target.
We'll give you like 5 guys there you could look at.
Pretty much
probably none of them on the same team either, so lots of options there.
Yeah, just try them all. The worst you can get is no. I mean, just try again. So, shoot out like 8 different offers and see which one bites first.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
I mean,
Well,
that's kind of how
roll.
that works, right? Just
That's
flood
how I roll.
flood the whole league with offers.
Send an offer to every team in the league, and somebody's gonna at least text you back and be like, "Hey, I'm intrigued."
Doubt it. Not if they play in my leagues.
Yeah, I got like 2 leagues that they'll do that. That's about it.
So, all right, guys, that puts us an hour 45. I don't see any more questions coming in, so let's wrap this up for the night. And I guess we'll see you guys next week. Don't forget Wednesday night. Well, tomorrow night we got Boom Bust with me and Kyle, and then Kyle and Tony have the Fantasy Wall Street on Wednesday night, and then you can catch us for snoozers or losers Thursday at lunch. That'll be noon Central Time. So
thank you to the regulars. Appreciate the newbies.
Love it. One more from LeBron's here.
There's always one when we're signing off. I tell Tony this every time.
Keenan Allen, Fournette for Hawkinson, Pittman. I mean, if you can afford to give Hawkinson, yes. If you have another,
which side are you getting? Which side?
Yeah, he would be getting Allen Fournette, right? Because he's looking to trade Pittman.
Okay, and he has Goddard.
Oh, he has Goddard. So
he has Goddard. So giving Hawk Pittman for Allen Fournette, I like that.
I would prefer, just one thing is I would prefer to move Goddard.
Well, obviously, but I don't think you're going to get Fournette and Allen with Goddard.
Okay, either way, you're good at tight ends. So
yeah, try it with Goddard first and let them counter with Hawkinson, and then hit accept for show. I like that plan.
I like that trade. First. I think you win that trade.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
Cool. Alrighty, let's sign off for real this time. See you guys. We'll see you next week.
See y'all.
Thanks for the support.